Welcome, and today we are going to be focusing on shoulder mobility. So I'm just going to go through a little bit of an explanation first. So what we're going to be focusing on is, in yoga you could call it cow face arms, but for the rest of the world we call it like tricep overhead extensions, but we're not using any weights, and we're focusing on stretching this part over here. I'm going to adapt it slightly because there's some parts of it that I don't particularly agree with. So when the arm comes into that position, this is a fantastic stretch to release fascia, muscles, improve shoulder mobility, all sorts of stuff, okay? So I'm actually going to turn around so you can see what's going on behind me. So we're going to be taking the arm into that position, so the hand will be there, and then this hand is going to come into that position. So now I'm going to talk about that hand, and that's the part that I don't quite agree with. So most of us tend to be what we call internally rotated. So the bones are turning inwards. So whether it's driving, sitting on computers, laptop, anything like that, needlework, we tend to be internally rotated. So what we need to do to look after our posture and to improve our alignment and all that is we need to open up this part of the body. We need to externally rotate. So this part externally rotates, this part internally rotates. So now this bone over here tends to poke out a little bit. So especially now if I was giving a 20-year-old this, I wouldn't worry too much about it, but as we get older and just the nature of our clients in the studio, shoulders start to become a little bit of a problem, whether it's arthritis, falls, all that kind of stuff. So we don't really want to exacerbate this, and we also don't want to put the shoulder into a position that could compromise it. So what I find is when people come into this position, they're trying to force the arm there, and then what happens is they get a pain there or they get a pain in there, and we're not after that. So we're going to use a towel for that. Sometimes the ego can get in the way a little bit with this one. So I'm going to take you through this one, and I'll turn around so you can see. So have your towel just over your shoulder like that, and you're going to lift the right hand up towards the ceiling. Now you can sit cross-legged, you can do kneeling, you can do this in a chair. I'll be swinging around and that, so I'm just leaving my legs wherever it's easier. So hand goes up, and then I want you to give yourself a pat on the back, okay? So the first thing I want you to notice is, where is this elbow? So you can see mine wants to pull out. So you can just take this arm and guide it in. So for me personally, what I prefer to do is just to hold that there with this hand in front. So you're trying to get that elbow as high up as you can, no pain, okay? You can hold it like that. You're trying to keep the spine tall. So everything wants to be nice, tall, spacious. Now, if you want to take that one step further, and I'm going to turn around now. So we're in that position. If you want to take it one step further, take your left hand out to the side so the palm's facing back, and then bring the face of your watch onto your lower back, or the back of your palm onto the watch, and then you're going to grab the towel, and the top hand is going to grab the towel. Now, most people will say to you, try and grab as high up as you can, and this is where I say the ego tends to get involved, and you start to overstretch within the joint, which is not very good because you can never put that right again. Once you've overstretched, you've overstretched. So for me, I prefer just to have that hand there, and it's kind of just supporting the top arm. But make sure that you're not rounding, and actually push your head a little bit into that arm over there, and you're trying to keep that elbow high. So that's the kind of variation that I prefer. I just think it's safer for the nature of my clients that I work with, and as you're in the over 50s group, as we get older, we start to lose elasticity in the joints and all over the place. So we want to be a little bit more mindful with how we practice. And you could just hold that for 5 breaths, okay? So remember, the spine wants to be tall. So if you find you're in that position, either release it a little bit, get nice and tall, And you can just use the towel to guide you rather than I'm determined to get my hands. So my hands can touch at the back, but I can feel it in there. I can feel it in there. So our hips are quite deep, the sockets, but we don't have a big range of motion. The shoulders have a bigger range of motion, but at the cost of not being so stable. So we really do want to be mindful what we do with our joints. So now we're going to do the other side. So have the towel on your left-hand side. And you can, again, when you're working, you can just take a breath and you can just like stretch a few times and then switch sides. So this time, left hand to the top, give yourself a pat on the back. And don't be surprised if there's a difference between, like, even I can feel this one is like a lot stiffer. Okay, so you can either just hold it there, send that one up, keep the spine nice and tall. If you want to go a little further, take your right hand out, palm face in the back, bring your wrist, back of the hand into the small of the back, and then grab hold of the towel with both hands. So again, I'm just using this bottom hand to gently support the top. So you don't want to be pulling down. It will help you to get that up, but it's fine if you are paying attention and you're not overstretching. Okay, sometimes you do need a little bit of assistance just to get into the position. So you can deepen the stretch, but you want to make sure that you're feeling it here and here. You're not feeling it inside of your joint. And then you'll hold that for about 5 breaths as well. 5 breaths, 10 breaths, it doesn't really matter. 1 breath if that's all you can do while you're sitting on the toilet and having a pee-pee. There's always funny places you can do Pilates. And then you can release that. And then just give your shoulders a little shrug. So that is cow face arms or tricep overhead extensions, shoulder mobility, call it what you want, movement. So take care. See you soon.